Hi, I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings, and today we are at Walter's Gardens, the home of the proven winner perennials, along with a lot of other great perennial varieties. We're going to go ahead and take a walk through these gardens and check out what's blooming right now. We're a zone 6A. So a lot of the perennials we're going to see in today's garden tour obviously are hardy for a zone 6A. So we will be putting links below in the description so you can get all the information you may be wanting on these perennials. As far as their hardiness, their height, when their bloom time is, and just some of those rabbit and deer questions as well. But right now we're just going to go and take a walk and show you all the beautiful things that are blooming if you're looking to add color to your June garden. I love the vibrant red and yellow blooms of the Spigelia little redhead. This plant is hardy in zones 5 to 9 and gets about 28 inches tall or so at maturity. The habit of it is kind of a nice columnar habit, so it's a little bit more narrow than what it is tall, and it likes to be planted in full sun to part shade locations. It's a great native variety that's makes a wonderful cut flower as well. I just love watching these blooms as they're just swaying here in the breeze. Anything that's got those nice long tubular flowers typically is a pretty good indicator that it's also a plant that's going to attract the hummingbirds and the pollinators to the garden. This is kind of a unique and different flower form in my opinion, meaning more it adds a different texture and look into the garden. Something I was first introduced to just a few short years ago and have quickly fallen in love with the look and feel of the Spigelia in my garden. I feel like lavender brings such nostalgia to the summer garden. Memories, I think, are also made around a lavender plant. Going to U-pick fields and just gathering bunches of these gorgeous smelling perennials. This one here is the Sweet Romance lavender. It's hardy in zones 5 to 9 and gets about 2 or so foot tall, creating just a really gorgeous mounding habit. Lavender does like to be planted in full sun locations and typically does well if it's in more well-drained soil. It's bee friendly, butterfly friendly, and the best part is if you have deer and rabbit in your garden, they're going to typically stay away from the lavender, and mostly it's because of the fragrance. I personally like to trim lavender and dry it, make a little sachet out of it. It also has wonderful fragrant oils. If you're looking to create your own essential oils, you can do so with lavender as well. Sweet Romance is just a nice, tidy habit. The perennial itself has a nice form. It doesn't crack open. And just a great addition to not only garden borders, but the perfect size too, that you can just kind of plunk it anywhere in your garden. Not all color in today's video is coming in the form of flowers. Here we have the gorgeous Aralia Sun King. Aralia Sun King is hardy in zones 3 to 9 and gets about 3 foot tall by 3 foot wide. It prefers to be planted in part shade to full shade locations, although here we're seeing it in a full sun garden and it's holding up quite well. I'm not seeing any sunburn at this point in the season. So you might even be able to kind of test the sun a little bit by giving it more sun, especially if you're more in the north. Sun King does get some white flowers on it, although I wouldn't say that they're significant. It's going to be more grown for its beautiful foliage interest. It has the perfect interest in spring, summer, and fall with its gorgeous yellow and chartreuse green foliage. Well, most of the Baptisia in the garden right now are well past their prime. This Deluxe Pink Truffles, this is part of the Decadent series, is just coming into its prime. It's hardy in zones 4 to 9 and gets about 36 to 40 inches tall. It likes to be planted in full sun, and this is a bee and butterfly attracting perennial. It's also deer resistant. I love the nice soft mauve blooms here of this Deluxe Pink Truffles Baptisia, and it's just so nice as it just blows here in the breeze. It's got a little bit more of a taller upright habit than a lot of perennials, so it adds some structure and some columnar interest into the garden. I also wanted to show you this really gorgeous spot in the garden today. And again, this is another spot that really isn't highlighting flower interest, but more foliage interest. Right now, we're in the middle of a huge display of hostas, and these hostas are actually in full sun right now, and they're gonna probably get most of the day of sun. I would say they probably had early morning sun and they'll have sun till about 3 o'clock or so. The thing I really like about this particular garden is where you're seeing your color is by the use of the hosta selections that they chose. We're seeing big leaf hosta, we're seeing smaller leaf hosta, we're seeing the miniatures, we're seeing the big guys. But the more important thing with this garden design is the color of the foliage of the hostas in here. You're seeing some that have more of that blue-gray foliage. You're seeing the green foliage. You're seeing the gorgeous yellow chartreuse foliage hostas. And then they also went and tucked in a few other perennials as well, including some corbels, some Japanese maples, and even some of the dark astilbe, just to really help break up the greens in this garden. So this is a great use of texture, color, and even the size and whimsiness of plants to make a beautiful display garden here. Here's a good arrangement for the full sun garden that is showing just massive color right now. We've got the opening act Ultrapink Phlox that is in full bloom. And this garden, I'm going to talk about some of the various things in here. So if you're looking to have lots of color in an area, this is a great starting point. So right now we have the opening act Phlox. These are known for their earlier to bloom flowers, excellent vibrant coloration, and it's got really good disease resistance as well. There's a lot of various colors in the opening act series. So if you're looking for whites or purples or brighter pinks, lighter pinks, there's various options that you have. Behind them, they've got the beautiful Midnight Masquerade Penstemon, and you can see how it's just a little bit taller than that Phlox, so it kind of stands out with its beautiful, very, very soft pink blooms. The other nice thing with Midnight Masquerade is when it's not blooming, it's got fantastic, really dark foliage. So even when the flowers have faded, the foliage remains, giving some really fun interest to the garden. And then in front of this display, they have some of the Cat's Pajamas Nepeta, which right now they're just a little bit past their blooming prime. So with just a nice light trim, they'll be back to flowering again as a great border plant. So you may be asking yourself, okay, this is great for June color. What else do they have planted in here that will extend the color in this garden? So they do also have some tall phlox. They've got the Opalescence tall phlox that will be blooming more midsummer. There's a lot of daylilies tucked in this bed, along with allium and some Russian sage, and then even a few of the gorgeous summerific hibiscus, which will give the garden some late summer color. So this is a perfect full sun garden that attracts the pollinators, has lots of different colors and textures, not only in the flower, but also in the foliage, as seen with the Penstemon. So this is something that would be a great garden if you wanted to recreate this look. One thing I'm really excited to announce is the new addition of the Alstroemeria to the Proven Winners Perennial Collection. This one here is the Summer Heat Peruvian Lily. It's just starting to bloom, but the nice thing with these Peruvian lilies is they bloom literally all summer long until a good hard frost here in West Michigan. This particular variety gets up to 36 inches tall, so it's got a nice columnar habit. It is hardy in 6 to 9, so you do want to make sure that you're kind of watching your zones depending where you're located. So for us in West Michigan here, we tend to be more of a zone 6A, although a lot of Michigan is also a 5. So this would be kind of what I would consider maybe more of a tender perennial, depending on what your zone is. But as mentioned, I mean, if you are just looking for a long blooming, hardworking perennial, you can't go wrong with Alstroemeria. Although they're not your typical flower form for clematis, the Stand By Me clematis really holds its place in the garden. So this is a non-clinging clematis, meaning that the vines don't twist and wrap around its structure. So here they have an obelisk that they are growing it up that kind of helps hold its shape and its columnar habit. This is also a plant that if you planted 2 plants next to it, that too could kind of help hold those stems upright. Stand By Me has these little bell-shaped flowers. This is the original Stand By Me, which is a vibrant, gorgeous purple bloom. These are wonderful for the pollinators. We'll often see the bumblebees and the hummingbirds enjoying the Stand By Me clematis. So it's really important, I think, to have the best look going on is to put it in some sort of an obelisk or trellis type form. You can see it here paired with that lemony lace sambucus in the background. Doesn't that purple and yellow just look so stunning together? I know a lot of people don't like planting yellow in their garden, but yellow is just such a versatile color that goes with anything you put with it. They also have some of the Salvia down here, the violet Profusion Salvia, and that too is just pairing really nicely with the purples and yellows in this garden. There's also a few Coreopsis tucked in here throughout. So we'll be taking a closer look at these Coreopsis in just a minute, because actually this is a variety I am not familiar with. So I think this might be something that is a new introduction. So let me do a little searching to see if we can find out what the name is of this gorgeous Coreopsis. Tradescantia Webmaster is kind of a unique perennial that has grass-like foliage. So even when it's not in bloom, it kind of looks like a giant mound of tall grass. And then in June here, it's starting to bloom with its beautiful kind of a bicolor bloom. The buds are really a deep purple. And then as the flower opens, it has lighter lavender with a little bit of kind of a swirl look to the petals. Tradescantia Webmaster is hardy in zones 3 to 9. And in this garden here right now, it's about 24 to 30 inches tall. So a little bit taller than what I was originally anticipating it to get. It likes to be planted in full sun to part sun locations. And it'll even tolerate shadier areas as long as you're getting a little bit of that filtered sun. It's bee-friendly, butterfly-friendly, and is a deer and rabbit-resistant perennial. And it's fairly long blooming as well. I would say it blooms a better part of the middle of summer. It creates just this mounding look. So, I mean, like I mentioned, that grass-like foliage, but creates just a nice upright mound with the flowers that are sitting just right on top of that foliage. So the Coreopsis that we've been seeing kind of tucked in and throughout these gardens, I believe is the Coreopsis Solar Dance. It's a gorgeous bushy habit perennial with a ton of these really high, long stems on these gorgeous semi-double bright yellow blooms. This plant is just starting to open up right here now in the garden with its beautiful yellow flowers. And man, even just the little bit of flowers we're seeing right now is creating quite a vibrant display in the garden. I can only imagine within the next week or 2 or 3 when this plant is in full bloom, just how gorgeous it's going to look. Thank you for walking through the gardens with me today. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. If you're new to our channel, we welcome you to subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings.